Right, hey, excuse me. Hey, shalom, shalom. Before I get started, as always, I'm going to give all praise to our power, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And salutations and blessings to the hopeful elect that is scattered throughout the four winds of the earth, that believe wholeheartedly in the true doctrine that is being pushed throughout the four winds of the earth, who are in hope of mercy and salvation during the time of Jacob's trouble, as well as when Yahweh Shai returns to the planet Earth. All right. This video here is based upon a video that I had checked out earlier the last month of December, and giving things that have taken place since the new year. Okay, it confirms that this woman on this show, the Shan Ryan show, a woman by the name of Sarah Adams. All right, which Sarah Adams, this woman here, as you can see on the screen. All right, Sarah was an intelligence and analysis and targeter with the Central Intelligence Agency. She also served as the senior advisor to the U.S. House Representatives Select Committee on Benghazi. You know what I'm saying? And she's written a couple of books. She wrote this book called Benghazi, Know Thy Enemy, and a cold case investigation. All right. So she's not a woman that's just talking out the side of her goddamn neck. She's she's dug up and been in the shit, so to speak. And she's in this video here, I'm gonna show the because she's speaking about the TERRORISTS people. All right. With this interview she did actually a couple. I believe this was the second one she came on, and she's basically spilling the beans that the U.S. government knows that these these so-called, I'm gonna call them terrorists, all right, are over here, and that they're plotting for different attacks, simultaneous attacks, and I forget the word she actually used, but they've been trained by government funding, and they're here, and this is what she's on this show explaining. Now I'm gonna play this one because it shows this video of the training facilities where they train them. After she's done talking, she's gonna speak about the facilities that they're being trained in, and we're gonna go to this video, which is the same, but it's clipped. It's a clip from this video where he straight up asked her about the U.S. All right. So without any further ado, let's get into it.
What can you talk about the actual threat that the Pentagon doesn't seem to think is important?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked previously about Al Qaeda planning embassy attacks. Obviously, I've talked about they're planning an attack in Bamako in Mali. So this is another location in Africa where they're planning the attack. I don't want to give up everyone I know because, then you get into sourcing. Obviously, everyone I know I will pass to the U.S. government, especially the State Department. So I don't hold on to threat reporting. But it's just Al-Qaeda has all these waves of attacks planned, okay? If you've read our October 7th Know Thy Enemy report, you know this all started with the Hamas attacks, right? That was one of Al-Qaeda's planned attack, and we can talk more about that one later. So they have kind of like these waves against Israel. And then they have like waves against Europe, waves against us, waves to create the Islamic Caliphate, right? Mm-hmm. So a lot of the African plotting, for example, is the waves to create the Islamic Caliphate. So the Islamic Caliphate is basically obviously Afghanistan, Syria. That's why they've trained a lot. What's going on right now, Iraq. They're in a dream world. They have India on it. And then it's like all of North Africa. And then in a future phase, it then goes up into Spain, right? Like in the olden days. So it's just all their plots they have in place to put into motion these elements. And so their embassy plots, for example, are they have some in Africa, and then they have some in Europe, and then they have some in the Middle East, all for a different purpose. The Middle East is to push us out for the caliphates. The Africa is to push us out for the caliphates. And then the Europe, right, is just to go after, and then that'll go in with the Homeland Attack too, but the Europe is just to target the U.S. for its involvement in the Middle East.
Do they have a priority list?
They don't exactly have a priority list. Like, they're all waves and some can be concurrent. What matters is how long it takes to train attackers, right? So the Hamas attacks was like less than 1,500 guys, right? They actually initially planned to train them from August 7th, 2022 to October 7th, 2022. They ended up pushing the attack a year, and so they ended up with more training, which helped the attackers because of Zawahiri's assassination. So then the U.S. Homeland, for example, they want to use 1,000 terrorists, right? So that took time to put the 1,000 through the pipeline. Syria, they trained 10,000 terrorists to send to Syria. It takes time to put 10,000 terrorists through the pipeline, right? So it depends on the size and the camp capacity, and then the type of training, right? Are you putting them through suicide bomber training? That's its own camps, and that's about 20% of the camps they run. Are you putting them through advanced urban warfare? So it just depends on what camp you're going to. And then even some of the camps are broken down by ethnicity. Like, they might not put Libyans in the same camp as they put Somalians or Syrians. So some camps are broken down if you're Arab or not. So it really is just going to depend on those capacities.
You know, these guys, I think it was you that posted a video of an Al-Qaeda training camp, and it was almost like a display. It looked like a well done YouTube video of skills. Is that common?
Yeah, but that's a step down. So
that was really good.
That's Taliban. Those are the Taliban camps. So we can't get those kind of videos out of the Al-Qaeda camps. As you can imagine, you can't even bring phones into the Al-Qaeda camps. So Al-Qaeda is even a level above those.
I mean, I want to overlay that video for the audience to see just how sharp these guys are getting. I mean, that's really good. Well, when I saw that, it scared the shit out of me.
Remember, their life is they train all the time.
Yeah.
So
he said when he saw that, it scared the shit out of him. And he's a SEAL. He's a former SEAL, Navy SEAL, I believe. Shan Ryan. So he's no stranger to war, you know. But this scared the shit out of him. All this information in the video of this Taliban terror training camp, right? And this video is still getting views. There's 2 million views on this one. See, everybody is going back to this because of what had transpired in New Orleans, what transpired in Vegas, and then I believe there was a so-called shooting in New York City, if I'm not mistaken. All right, so we in the time to where these terrorist attacks are going to ramp up and continue to come. All right, now I got one more video. I'm gonna just play a little bit of this one. I wanted to, have her explain that a little bit, and then him show that video of them training camps for these terrorists. All right, and they already here. Trust and believe that, and they're funded, and they're gonna be given weapons and things by the U.S. government. All right. So let's listen to this. Just the first couple of minutes of this because, he asked her straight up. Somebody clipped this portion of that video. As you can see, New Orleans terror attack, Sarah Adams terrorism in U.S. on the Shan Ryan show, SRS, which aired back in early December. All right.
What about the U.S.?
So the U.S., from what we've seen, I told you about the camps, right? There's the advanced urban warfare. So we think it's going to look like October 7th, but it's actually based on, and October 7th was probably also based on it. It's based on the Mumbai attacks that occurred 15 years ago in Delhi, India. And we believe this for multiple reasons.
What happened there? Before we dig into
that. We talked about this, I think it was my first episode. It was basically a terrorist group, Lashkar-e-Taiba. They did a number, it's called swarming attacks. They did a number of attacks in the Delhi, at a hotel, the Taj Mahal, I believe it was called, at like basically the train station, etc. The interesting thing about it, and this is why they're going to employ it now, is those terrorists were given kind of like latitude. One, they could change the location they were attacking, and they could change the modus operandi they were using. So, for example, when they went in the train station, it was supposed to be a bombing. When they got in there, they said, wow, we can kill more people just shooting them than putting the bomb together, and they shot them. Another thing that they did is in real time, information was being passed to them. So when they were in the Taj Mahal, they were being told what was on the press and what the police were doing, and they changed basically some of their movements in the hotel to make the attack last longer, okay?
So, in other words, what she's explaining is the different type of tactics that these terrorists are gonna perform out here. And trust him, make no mistake of it, there is powers that be who know that who have funded these terrorists. All right, and they're gonna ramp up these attacks, man. All right, they're gonna ramp them up. Okay. She's gonna mention a certain type of a terrorist. I forget the actual name, but I think it's getting ready to come up to where they commit the terror attack and they just fight until the death. Either they kill everybody they went to kill, or they fight until they die. And that's what the dude in New Orleans did. He ran over as many people as he could. I believe his name was Jabbar, Ishmaelite, all right, a so-called Arab. He ran over as many people as he could, and when he got out the vehicle, he got into a shootout with the cops. All right, he got into a whole shootout with the cops, which it was real, it happened, but we know and believe that these things were all meant to happen. Meaning, the U.S. government knows that these things are happening because they trained these people overseas and they brought them over here to commit these heinous acts, or these acts. I don't want to say heinous because that's what Esau say. But they fund them overseas, and then they brought them over here, through the border, and they know that they here just roaming and they waiting, to be activated, so to speak. All right, and this was her job, was to target so-called terrorism. All right, and get that information to who it needs to be gotten to. Okay.
So this is the part that's going to be different, right? So Al-Qaeda always wants to innovate when it does its next attack, right? So I've already told you about the innovation of the suicide vests. Well, do you know we really haven't had a suicide bombing in the United States ever? There's the Nashville guy who did the strange, blew himself up in the car early in the morning when no one was around. That's kind of it.
The AT&T building?
Yep. So we have not had a man walk up to a building with a suicide vest on in the United States. Americans don't understand this. Al-Qaeda knows this, right? So this is new.
The movie Sicario 2, where they showed that scene where they walked into the convenience store and blew shit up in the corners of the store. Okay?
Innovative, especially now. You don't have to walk upside of the building. You can walk in the building because of the advancement of the vest. The other thing is, in the United States, we haven't had Fidelian attackers. Do you know what this is? I mean, you'll know when I explain it. If you fought in, Ramadi, Fallujah, you've seen these. So the concept is the terrorist fights to the death. So he's not exactly a suicide bomber, but he will fight till either all of us are dead or all of his people are dead, right?
And that's what the dude in New Orleans did. That's why whoever uploaded this, put this directly in the title because that was the type of heiress that was in New Orleans. He didn't go to get arrested. He went to kill as many as he could until he lost his life, and that's what happened. I'm gonna just back it up just a little bit.
Till either all of us are dead or all of his people are dead, right? So this can go on for multiple days, like the plan was for Mumbai, for example. So we think it's going to be a swarming attack, right? Multiple different attacks at one time across multiple cities. We think there will be suicide bombers just because some of the attackers went through suicide bomber training and they have these vests, right? And then we think...
There it is. So this is how the year started with these terrorist attacks, and it's going to end, Lord will, all right, with the most what's going to drive Esau to the king of terrors. And this is why I have this here in the book of Job, all right, and this will be the only scripture I read, so I got to get out of here and get to camp. But this is the book of Job, chapter 18, verse 5. Starting at verse 5, it says, yea, the light of the wicked shall be put out, and the spark of his fire shall not shine. All right. And as the days go forward and these attacks continuously happen, all right, it ain't gonna be no Shan Ryan show with these people giving out information. Everybody's gonna be afraid. All right. The light is gonna be put out. All right. Verse 6, the light shall be put dark. Salakia, the light shall be dark in his tabernacle, and his candle shall be put out with him. The steps of his strength shall be straightened, and his own counsel shall cast him down, like old girl. All right. She's telling the world that the government knows about this information, but they're not doing nothing to prevent it. Because this is what they want to happen. The elite bankers want it to happen because they want a order ab chaos type society so that they can bring in the solution. Okay? Verse 8, for he is cast into a net by his own feet and walketh upon a snare. All right? The jinn shall take him by the heel, and the robber shall prevail against him. The snare is laid for him in the ground, and a trap for him in the way. All right. Terrors shall make him afraid on every side. All right. You heard Shan Ryan, a whole Navy SEAL. All right. He said seeing those training facilities that those Arabs are using scares the shit out of them. And that those same people that was training in those facilities are here on American soil waiting to get their number calls, so to speak. Okay, which really this is all the Heavenly Father's doing. We reading it. Verse 11. Terror shall make him afraid on every side, and shall drive him to his feet. His strength shall be hunger bitten, and destruction shall be ready at his side. All right, and that's where we at. All right, them Arabs are over here with a perfect hatred for you crackers, man. All right. And just for America, period. And this is all culminating into Jacob's trouble. All right? Because Jake ain't even aware of nothing like this. Jake don't pay attention to shit. But that's going to be to your own demise, man. All right? That's going to be to your own demise. Verse 13. It shall devour the strength of his skin. Even the firstborn of death shall devour his strength. All right? Here's the last scripture, and then I'm gonna close it out. It says, his confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle. You got all these attacks getting ready to start happening, and they're gonna continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger. All right, more bodies on top of more bodies on top of more bodies. All right, until this happens, and it shall bring him to the king of terrors until the Lord shows up, and that's gonna be the ultimate terror. So this place is getting ready to go through a turbulence of violence all the way up until Yahushua returns. All right. And this is what we've been prophesying this. We've been waiting for it. And it's finally here. And Lord will, this is the hopeful year. All right. of our deliverance, judgment, and destruction on Esau, Edom. All right? And it's looking that way. So call Haloyim La, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Lord will, this was edifying to the hopeful elect and exhorting. And we on to the next video. Shalom.